you're a neurologist. How did you come up with these products?
So I have a history. I was in the military for 10 years. Then I went to medical school at the age of 32. And when you're doing all these other things and you have young children, you neglect yourself. Well, kids were out of college. It was like a pay raise. So I started doing my epic events again. Some of them were all weekend long. And you can only be as fast as your blisters and soreness will take you. So I made it, everyone has 5 or 6 products, but I wanted one that I could just put in my pocket, put it on once and get gone. And so I just made it in my kitchen.
Natalie, I want to know, how is it working together? Because you are like behind the scenes doing so much for the business. How is that working together?
You know what, it's actually great. I mean, when I just remember looking across the table at Doug one day when we were friends, and he was telling me all about how everywhere he went, all these races he went to, people were looking at him saying, "Did you bring that miracle stuff? Did you bring it with you?" And
So now I'm like a dealer. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Giving him a draw.
And so he was telling me those stories, and I had tried it at a Spartan race, and my sister had tried it as well, who's a dermatologist. And I started using it for my whole body, like neck down. I have severely dry skin. After my shower, the Miracle Balm, the green one, I put from neck down every day because it's the only thing that keeps me hydrated from shower to shower, so I don't have flakes everywhere.
Yeah.
And I used to have the bumps on the back of my arms, the KP. I don't know how long that took, but it's gone.
Thank you for tuning in to the Amberly Lago Show. So if you have listened to the show for a while or followed me on social media, you know that I live with a disease that I was diagnosed with called complex regional pain syndrome. And for the past 14 years, I have been to doctor after doctor after doctor, and I've never met anyone like this. I am so excited. I have my doctor here, Dr. Doug, and his amazing wife, Natalie Gardner here. They are the creators of Dr. Doug's Balms, and you can find them on Instagram at Dr. Doug's Balms. So I am so excited to have them here. I'm so excited to talk about their products that I use every day. And I don't promote products on this show. And I mean, I maybe one ever, unless I really use them and love them. This is my personal own that I carry with me, and I have others in my fanny pack. But I can't wait to share their knowledge and talk about their products and his concierge practice as well. So y'all, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for flying in. And I just have to say, okay, so I met Natalie, we met at my event, and then I was so excited that you joined the mastermind, and we were all sitting around this circle table and going around, and I said, well, let's go around the room and introduce yourself and share, what you do. And after you spoke about the products, everybody in the room was like, wow. And one of the girls, Tiff, even said, I wish I was that passionate about what I did. And I'm like, well, when you love something and you know that it works and it's organic and it's good for people and it's making that change, yeah, why not be passionate? But I had no idea that you were even married to Dr. Doug or how the products came about. And I just have to say really quick, I don't want to get too emotional, but it's hard going to doctor after doctor, and you're the first doctor that listened to me and thought outside the box and helped me. So thank you.
You're most welcome. You're why I went into medicine.
Oh.
When you wake up in the morning and say, you're welcome, Dr. Doug.
Look.
Because you make me feel like I do my job.
Yeah, you do. And we'll talk about your concierge practice, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, well, gosh, he helped her so much.
Yeah.
I want help too. So we'll definitely talk about that. But I want to talk about, how did you come up? I mean, you're a neurologist. How did you come up with these products?
So I have a history. I was in the military for 10 years. Then I went to medical school at the age of 32. And, when you're doing all these other things and you have young children, you neglect yourself. Well, kids were out of college. It was like a pay raise. So I started doing my epic events again. Some of them were all weekend long. And you can only be as fast as your blisters and soreness will take you. So I made it, everyone has 5 or 6 products, but I wanted one that I could just put in my pocket, put it on once and get gone. And so I just made it in my kitchen. And my cousin loved it. He was living with me at the time. And then, I think it was at lunch, she said, "So what is it you do?" And we hadn't really been introduced. I think we met through a mutual friend. And I said, "Well, I do this, this, and this." And she's like, "Well, I want to do one." So she did it, and she kind of got a little bit blown up. And so I said, "Well, try this." And Natalie, when you get an endorsement from somebody like that my friends were calling it the Miracle Balm, but it was somebody who said, "I know how to turn this into a business." And my first thought was, they don't teach you that in medical school.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen if I do it.
Yeah.
And so it was, in summary, it was need-based. What did I need? So I made something to fix it. Now what do I need? Well, I'm going to add this to it to fix that as well.
Yeah.
And so that was it.
Well, I just remembered something. You posted something on your social media, Natalie, that said, "My favorite animal after a 50K." Do you remember posting that?
I don't even know which one it was.
It was, and it's you
And that
coming
was-
through. You finished this
yes.
race.
Yes.
That was my favorite post you've ever done, by the way.
Was that my heel click?
Yes, that was your heel click.
Yeah,
I was
so-
like, there are not many, I don't know if any doctors are as cool as that,
They're out there.
Well, and so you started, everywhere you went, everybody was like, "You know what? I want to try this."
Yeah.
So Natalie, I want to know, how is it working together? Because you are like behind the scenes doing so much for the business. How is that working together?
You know what? It's actually great. I mean, I just remember looking across the table at Doug one day when we were friends, and he was telling me all about how everywhere he went, all these races he went to, people were looking at him saying, "Did you bring that miracle stuff? Did you bring it with you?" And he,
So now I'm like a dealer. They're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, give it them a drop."
And so he was telling me those stories, and I had tried it at a Spartan race, and my sister had tried it as well, who's a dermatologist, and I started using it for my whole body, like neck down. I have severely dry skin.
I do too.
I used to have the bumps on the back of my
I
arms.
put it all over my, usually I just put it on my legs. I was putting it on my chest last night. So I'm glad to hear you use it all over too. I was just
oh yeah.
Especially because it's so cold. It just turned cold here, so we've just got the heater cranked up. So I was like, well, it couldn't hurt here too. And I was putting it on my chest. Yeah, so you do that too?
I put it after my shower, the Miracle Balm, the green one, I put from neck down every day because it's the only thing that keeps me hydrated from shower to shower, so I don't have flakes everywhere.
Yeah.
And I used to have the bumps on the back of my arms, the KP. I don't know how long that took, but it's gone.
Wow.
And that's just something that I just can't believe something so simple
Unintended, but it
works so well. So I got away from your question though. So he said to me that day across the table, he's like, "I have no idea how to do a business, how to run a business. I'm a neurologist. I can do the research and development, I can make it, I can do all that part, but do you want to do the other part?" And so that's kind of where the partnership started.
And how long ago was that?
probably 10 years.
10 years?
I mean, we've maybe incorporated the company 6 years ago.
Yeah.
How long y'all been together? Like 10 years?
10
y'all been
years. Yeah,
together?
we've known each other for 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
the company it was kind of a side gig for a while for both of us. It was just a side
Yeah.
gig, and then we realized, because it was helping people, and then we realized how many more people it could help. So
Yeah.
it was time to make that change and transition, and really for the past 2 years we've been super focused on it and growing the business so we can help as many people as possible.
Yeah, and so you have these great stocking stuffers, by the way. Stocking stuffers here. And I say this is a great, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh man, that's a good stocking stuffer, because I use all of these, and I was telling you before we started, I was like, they're in my car, they're in my fanny pack, I take them with me now. My daughter uses them. Yeah. And now we're talking about, I don't know if you've talked to Dr. Doug about this at all.
A little bit.
But I'm like, yeah, I'm putting it out there in the universe that we're going to come up with a line together, because I have so many friends that have chronic pain. And before we started recording, I was like, oh no, I have a lot of friends. I mean, I just was texting one of my friends before when I was walking in, and she was diagnosed with complex regional pain syndrome. So if this helps me and other things that you've helped me with, I know that it can help so many of the listeners that have chronic pain and stuff like that. But also with this, I have to say that I was telling you that I put on the lip balm that I didn't know had like plumper in it, and I'm allergic to bees, and my whole face started, getting red, and my neck started getting red. I was taking one of the little ones and rubbing it all over my face.
We hear that every now and then, that there's an anti-inflammatory quality about it, and I really don't know what it is. We've had people who are allergic to coconuts and beeswax or whatever, and they said our product does not affect them. So there's something else that is in there, And so I'm surprised
beeswax is fine. It's something else.
Well, the bee venom is.
It's the venom.
Yeah, it's the venom but we get interesting feedback. Even people who are allergic to like lavender. I think it's truly organic. There's no acetates or, there's nothing that ends in ATE. It looks like a recipe that your grandmother would have.
Yeah.
So it's words you can all recognize and pronounce, in the words of one of our employees. So, but this was the original here. And then for like an open wound, this came from this. Some people use it as a sunscreen.
Like all
the zinc stuff? Yeah, like cold sores, it was a big hit. So then this one was an interesting one because I got frostbite.
And tell them the name of that one.
This was the magnesium balm. This one was an interesting one because I belong to a group called the Endurance Society, and they're in Vermont. We're in the Adirondacks. I got frostbite. We all got frostbite, not just me. And so I thought, Natalie's like, well, why don't you do this, this, or this? I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. So I was buying the topical mag that you can buy online. And then it worked so well, I thought, I'm just going to make my own. So this is another way to think about this one is it's Epsom salt balm. Whereas magnesium sulfate is Epsom salt. We use mag chloride, which has better skin penetration. And then I hit my plantar fasciitis. I came down on my heel funny with a heavy pack. And all my friends said, oh, do arnica. You can get the vibe from my group of friends, right, who do these hikes. They're very natural. They're not anti-med, but what do you have that may displace something that gives me side effects? So I made the arnica balm. And then these two over here are, they have lemongrass and a couple other things added for bug. But we're very proud of it and happy. Natalie and I joke, this is the child we had together.
Yeah.
But it was, like I said, it was need-based. Somebody says, well, what do you have? I had no idea that it would work on restless leg. I made it for my neuropathy. But then patients came back and said, well, will it work on my headaches? And I thought, well, I don't know. Here's a sample.
Yeah.
And you were another one who I'm like, well, I think I told you up front with complex regional pain syndrome, I'm less than 50-50 successful. It's a failing grade. But I think my numbers might be better than some. And so I was optimistic that I could help you, but I do the same things with these products. I'm like, look, try it.
Yeah,
and if it doesn't work, I'll think of something
everybody's
else.
different.
In terms of, we talked about side effects. Like side effects, you can have efficacy, but it's a useless treatment if you have side effects.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and
Natalie drives them all. Like the label, the jars, the colors, that's all Natalie. Natalie is 90%. This is my ongoing thing. I'm Dr. Doug. She's Dr. Doug _S. She's the company. She's the heart and soul of it. So credit where credit is due. It would not exist. So I went to A&M and got a master's and graduated.
Did you
in
watch
95.
the game the other day?
I did. But then I went to medical school at the University of Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I forgot what I was going with. But it was when I was there. they don't teach you business at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I was learning hard science. I was getting a graduate degree in genetics, and so the business side did not exist. That's what that's what you hire people to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And so having somebody who was such a good friend who developed it like that, just having a business person isn't enough. Like Candy Valentino says, I'm the artist, I'm the creator, and then Natalie is the doer, she's the executioner. Initiate and complete the task. But in between, you need a manager. You kind of need all three things to truly be successful. And you think they teach you that in medical school? They don't have time. They're trying to teach you how the heart pumps.
Yeah, I'm sure. But and it's even for my business, I am a visionary. I can see it,
You're
and
a creator,
I know
yeah.
exactly what I need it to look like. I just don't know how to build it. So I'm like, here's all the things you need. Now, could you please just build it for me? Like I can see it. So you need
all three. And that's when people say, well, what have you learned from Dr. Doug's? The first thing I say is that business is hard. Like some people make it look easy. It is not easy. That just happens
It's
to be,
hard.
that's just how that's their skill. That's their bright spot. And thank goodness for them.
Yeah, and then, I know, Natalie, you and I have talked about just the social media and stuff for getting the brand out there, and I do love that you changed your Instagram to your name, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
for that suggestion.
Yes, I really did love that.
I would like to thank you as well.
But I did notice that. But your Instagram looks great for Dr. Doug's
Thank
Moms.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We also changed his personal one to Dr. Doug Strobel.
Oh.
After
Okay,
yes,
well, we'll
so-
have all those in the show notes so people can follow along.
Well, thank you.
And I'm glad you said that business is hard because
It is hard. It's hard.
It is, but and you know what? I think a lot of times people make it look easy and like, oh, it's an overnight success, especially with social media. They make it look so easy.
True.
But there's a lot of behind the scenes that goes on, especially with, we were on a call the other day and you're like, we just filled an order. I just dropped it off and it was a big order. And I'm like, it feels so good when you can have that task done. And I'm, yeah. So are y'all gearing up for Christmas and getting a lot of...
Yeah, and Natalie, now we plan ahead. Natalie's about 3 months in she's got a head start on that. But you never
so
know if it's going to be a
good.
big boom or if it's going to be a slow holiday season.
Yeah.
Well, you have your peppermint lip balm, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it launched yesterday, and it is amazing.
Yeah.
And they're so cute for, just a little something.
I can't wait to try it. Perfect stocking stuffer. too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hope you love.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Well, I had...
Cowboys like it too, though, because it's peppermint.
Oh, okay.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. So I have to thank y'all. I was telling them before we started that my daughter was using your lip balm last night in the kitchen, and her handsome friend, I guess I should say friend, cowboy, big cowboy belt, buckle and hat, and she's using the lip balm, and I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm interviewing the doctor and his wife for the company that created Dr. Doug's. And they're like, no way. And the cowboy goes, wow, your mom's a badass.
And she is.
I'm like, so thank y'all for making me look cool by flying in
the
and
value
being
of
on
that.
the show. But I literally had no idea when you joined the mastermind that you were going to say, my husband's a neurologist and I think maybe he can help you. You want to get on a call? I'm like, really? He would get on a call with me?
Did she tell you she texted me?
No.
Yeah.
I texted you her story, and had you watch a YouTube
and I
or
said,
something.
I think I can help her. And so she just leaned in.
While we were there, I
While you were
had
there.
sent him
Really?
something.
She was
something that you
she
did. I
was
think
worried
one of the
about you.
John
Like
Gordon
she wanted to help
things.
you, and she wanted to know if I could help you.
Yeah.
I was even reluctant, like the masterminds. Like I don't get the business aspect, but if you can do a mastermind, do it.
You're so awesome.
I'm serious because. Can I derail your conversation here?
Yeah,
Because this
yeah.
is key. So go back to the I don't have any business experience. Natalie would come back and she would just be like, it's the Super Bowl and I won and I got MVP. Like, no, and I'm like, I'm going to go run, right? I was not very supportive, Amberly. So then I
Sounds like my husband.
get it.
He didn't get. My husband doesn't get it.
Didn't get it. IQ of 0. I mean, it was just like you have no. When we go to conferences, they're tedious. Guys have like leather patches on their elbows and bow ties, and they wear their lanyards to sleep. You know, like neurologists are weird. You think I'm kidding? I'm absolutely serious. And
Oh my goodness.
So Natalie would come home, and so then I did one, and I was like this. I'm not going to be able to remember all this. This is so full of information. And I have kind of a belief system, like ego is bad in the room, but there's kind of like a validation. If your ego is validated by your productivity, ego is good. So there's kind of like a bad ego and a good ego. So when you go there, you can tell these people absolutely love, like Natalie, you were saying about Natalie, they love what they do so much. This is why I give like scholarships for people who want to do 50Ks and stuff. Like, why would you do that? You don't know these people. I'm like, because I want them to feel, if only for a moment, the way I feel.
Yeah.
Like, it is worth $500 entry fee for them to go through the weekend and feel the sense of accomplishment that I do at my age, right?
Yeah.
And so when Natalie would come back, and I was kind of a dud, I'll be honest, I was a dud. But then I did one, and now, like, I would fill up that little book.
Yeah.
And I'd have to-do lists, and I have my little, I would do chunking, you know? And I would have things chunked, like I'm going to do this. And totally different mindset than medical school. Medical school, you make lists, you memorize things, you know what to do, and it's safe, and there are parameters. So I had to really, like, get out of my lane and get back in.
It's like it's self-development. I mean, I hope my husband will listen to this episode and hear you say that, because he's the same. He's just like, I'm not going to go. Like, John Gordon has invited him to come. He's like, bring Johnny with you. And he's like, no. I love John, but that's your thing. You do that. You know what I mean? He's being a cop.
That was me. That was me.
But he is going to love the Unstoppable event this year.
Oh, you're going to come?
April 25th.
And you're going to be on stage.
Did you know that?
Did you see her face? Yeah.
Like,
and I'm like,
I'm still processing that, you know.
You are going to be on stage.
Maybe your husband and your husband can go, and we'll do something fun, like go to the shooting range.
Yeah. He would love that. But
There used to be date night for Natalie and I. We would go to the range.
Really, that's what we would do too. Yeah. Actually, one of my Christmas presents was a gun.
Yeah.
And his relatives gave me a bow and arrow, and I was like, do they think I'm Rambo or something? Like, what is going
well, like, I mean, you know, like,
That's kind of fun, no?
Like in my hospital, it was in a little bit of a rough side of town, and so one of my staff found a gun sitting on the floor. Like, how are you going to know how to handle a gun unless you handle one?
Yeah.
But it's also, there's a certain sense of satisfaction for target shooting with a bow or with a slingshot. Or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's why I was just joking. But if he wants to go, he said he's a police officer. He said he's a police officer. He could probably help me with my.
He was
trigger
shocked.
discipline and finger discipline.
He was shocked when we went to the range the first time. He was like, "Oh, wow, you know how to shoot." I'm like, "I'm from Texas." Like, of course I do.
We call those baby gifts.
Yes, exactly. And so I want to get to, like, thank you so much for saying, "Hey, you know, I think my husband can help you," and for you getting on a call with me.
Yeah.
And I was not used to that at all. And the reason I got so emotional is because in the 14 years that I have had experience, and I've gone to some of the best doctors in, not just in the country, in the world. Yeah. I've done every kind of treatment for CRPS. And it's frustrating having to go to a doctor all the time.
Yeah, especially if you're not getting any solutions, right?
And especially if they just want to drug you up,
or stick a needle in you,
or like put metal leads in your spine and, you know, put a...
Well, I had the luxury of knowing what not to do when you and I talked. Like you'd been through the ringer, but I had the luxury of, well, this is what's left. Let's try this. And like I said, we have step 1, step 2A or 2B. And that's the way physicians' minds work, is what did this do? What did this do? Right now, we just want you to get back to kind of a normal status.
But you just
that's what our products do. That's what
you just explained everything so well and so thoroughly.
Yeah.
And
you were fertile soil. It takes two.
Well, in a way that I could understand it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he kind of dumbed it down for me. Like, let me just give you an analogy here. You know what I mean?
This is how we. That's how he teaches, though. I mean, that's just who Doug is.
I'm a simple guy. I have a lot of education, but when people say, "Oh, do you dumb it down?" I'm like, "No, I don't dumb it down. I speak to people in terms they understand." You picked up on it quick, and so I'm like, "Okay, let's scale it up." And you got better. Huh?
I got better.
You got
yeah.
better. That's the key.
Yeah, it helped a lot, but it was the first time that I ever had anybody go, well, hey, like I told you, I don't like taking medication. You're like, well, hey, have you tried this? Have you tried? And I was like, no, I never even thought of that. I mean, and so you've helped me so much.
It's an honor. I'm just so pleased you got better.
Yeah, and I mean, it's ups and downs, you know, and if
like
I'm
anything.
out there traveling and, you know, doing event after an event, then I might have a flare-up that kind of kicks my butt, and then I have to kind of start over with things. But I know that when I have had a flare-up and I can bring it down, that I know I'll get down there again to a base level.
But I think after our visits, now you know why, right? You don't have this big black box of unsolved things. It's like, well, Dr. Strobel said if I did this, then I might feel this way. Or if I feel this way, I need to go back because this is what's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the kind of information that I think helps keep you out of the bad zones.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a learning experience, and everybody is so different for sure. And that's why I have people ask me all the time. They're like, well, what do you take? What do you do? And it's like, it's not one thing that I do or take.
Yeah.
It's mindset. It's, for me, it's spiritual.
Mindset's huge.
Mindset is huge. And if I were to come to you with this mindset of, oh, this isn't going to work, then it wouldn't work.
But I
you know?
interrupted you. You're going to say spiritual, right?
Yeah.
But that self-grace you give yourself, like that's reproducible. That's evergreen. Like if you can make two people feel that way, right? Maybe that's why you went through what you went through. I don't want to get too metaphysical, but it's the biggest reward for me is when people get better.
Mm-hmm. That, I mean, you're changing lives,
Yeah.
but you put your heart into it, not just your brains,
Well,
but
thanks.
you put your heart and your humor too.
Yeah.
You make it fun.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, I've talked to a lot of doctors who
Yeah.
are just not that fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
not at
to be
all.
fair, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. But I think having a physician is very hand in glove. It has to be a good fit. You know what I mean? Everyone has to kind of touch at all the right spots. And you were ready, and I had the information you needed, and that's why we clicked.
Yeah. But, you know, like I said, everybody's different.
Absolutely.
And when people come to me and they're like, well, what do you take? What do you do? And I always say, well, this works for me. I don't know if it's going to work for you, but this is what I do that helps me.
That's the right answer.
But actually, I got into a lot of trouble when I was on the doctor's TV.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I told you that. And they cut out the part where I said, I've tried ketamine and spinal radio frequency and spinal block and all these things, and they just cut it down to girl cures pain with her mind or her mindset. Woo, I had the haters coming out of it was the first time I ever had haters. Like they were coming after me, and I think it was hard because they were people, I was in a support group for CRPS.
Wow.
And half of them were coming at me like, you are a disgrace to our community. You don't even have CRPS. And I'm like, I wish I didn't have, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't want to claim that I have it. I was just diagnosed with it. You know what I mean? I don't want to claim it. Then the other half were like, we know Amberly, like this, you know, and they were battling it out. And I was just going, oh, wow, they're talking about me like I'm not even a person. They were calling me the author.
That sounds awful.
It was awful. I was about to go on stage to speak at a women's empowerment group, and I was sitting in the makeup chair with tears coming down my face, and I called my
So
husband.
that makeup went well.
The makeup went great.
Just running down your
Yeah,
face.
it's like,
You poor thing.
And my husband was like, congratulations. I'm like, what? He's like, congratulations, you got haters? Well, at least you know you're getting your message out there, and it was a good opportunity.
He's right. He's right.
I'm like, does it work for me? And I know that, the message that I'm sharing works. And I was like, yeah, it does. And so I think when you get haters, it's a good opportunity for you to go, wait a minute, no, this really does work. But like you said, you're not everybody's cup of tea. I'm definitely not everybody's cup of tea. And that really proved it then. But, you have started a concierge practice because, not that I'm trying to play doctor, but my dad has a lot of issues with his back and pain and nerve stuff. And I've told him about you, and I've offered so many different things for him to do or try, from everything from gut health to like your products, stuff like that. What I love about what you do is you take people and you look at all of their stuff and you review everything and spend hours actually looking at their chart.
Oh, yeah.
Because my experience, just with my last doctor's visit, I actually asked, I was like, did you even look at my chart? Like, I'm allergic to that medication. I've already done a spinal stimulator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You spend the time and really get to know the patient, what they've been through, who they are as a person before you get on with them. So I want people to know that, you've helped me. I don't want to just hog you, all to myself. I want people to know about you. So tell us a little more about your concierge business and how people can get connected with you.
I can be found online now. We have a landing page, but it's basically Healthy Brain Doc. That's who I am.
Okay, and, Healthy Brain Doc.
Yeah, and I'm not a pain specialist. I'm not an Alzheimer's specialist. I'm a general neurologist. But I really, one of the best things about cutting back from my 20 plus years of practice is I can roll up my sleeves, dissect that chart, get out the paper cutter and cut something, put things in categories that I can understand. And then, so once they find me online, I think step one is still going to be to have them send me the information, and then we kind of go through an interview each other. I may not be what they are looking for. And then once we establish the care, I'll either fly to go see them, or they can come some place proximal to me.
Yeah.
And then we set up the plan. But everything from people who are worried about Alzheimer's to early mild cognitive impairment to what have you.
Well, you know what? He's so humble. You're so humble. I'm blown away despite your luminous accomplishments from your practice,
Thanks, Mom.
Y'all's company, and your products that you have done and continue to create. And by the way, we're creating something together. I'm just telling you, Natalie.
You know what? It's going to be fun and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and we've talked about the scents and everything. Just so you know, Dr. Doug.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about all that already.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. It's planned. No, because I love it so much. I'm like, yeah, I want to do these products with you. Yeah, I want my own. I've always wanted it, but I want it to be something that I actually use every day and that I love. But and that you do these endurance races and come out doing hill clicks.
Yeah.
You're so humble about everything.
I think with me, it's like anything else. The alloy makes you stronger, right? If you were pure gold, you'd be pretty, but you wouldn't be very strong. If you were pure aluminum, you'd be light, but you wouldn't be very flexible. You'd be brittle. So it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So it's the 50Ks or the weekends in the Adirondacks that make me, I tell Natalie, I came back. And when you're sleep deprived for 24 hours, I solved so many things. And,
really?
Oh yeah. Your brain goes someplace that, it's the deprivation, the physical sleep, caloric deprivation that it's mind expanding.
Wow.
And his name's Andy Weinberg. He's the founder of the Endurance Society. And they'll do anything from a 5K to, they do at 88K.
Wow.
Yeah, which I didn't finish. But you have 10 days to run 888. Yeah, I want to do it next year, but we have to go to a wedding.
Oh,
so anyway,
wow.
But your brain goes places. I don't think I would have one without the other. I really don't. You know,
Wow.
I mean, and we're raising kids, and now I have a grandchild, and so it's.
I didn't know y'all had a grandchild.
Oh yeah.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations.
Crazy.
So, but those are the things, you know, it does make you humble, but those are the types of things that make you grateful, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I pray in gratitude more than anything in my life. I mean, I'm grateful for being here, you know. I don't just pray that I have a safe flight. I pray that in gratitude, like, this is the best day ever.
I feel like it's the best day, but you were going to say no.
Well, I mean, going back to he is humble. I mean, but that's one of the reasons I think he's going to be so successful in this new practice, because he really truly wants to get to know the person from start to like before they even decide that they want to work together. You know, really get to know them, know that he can make an impact. And this is going to be one of the first of its kind in the country for concierge neurology. So it's
Yeah,
we're really
she was
excited
telling
for
me all about
and-
it, by the way. She was telling me all about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is
Do you think it would have happened
awesome.
if it was up to me? I mean, I've always wanted to do something like that, but it takes a brain like Natalie's to
You are
create the momentum.
Such a good team.
Because it requires doctors as a rule we were talking about lanes, you know, like I'm in that lane, I'm totally comfortable in that lane.
Yeah, you're good at what you do.
Yeah, but then Natalie comes along and says, well, you can do that, but I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to change the aspect of it a little bit.
Well, the thing that gives him the most, like, intrinsically happiness is really being able to make a difference for people. So to be able to have that time and be able to really get to know the person is going to be, and really think outside the box, like you said
Yeah,
before. I mean, think
yeah.
outside the box. Figure out everybody's different. So what can he do to really treat the person what they need and really make a difference? So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, tell everybody where they can find you both. Natalie, where can people find you?
Oh, well, Natalie and Gardner on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram.
And LinkedIn. And then Dr. Doug's Balms, drdougs.com, and
Healthy Brain Doc.
healthybraindoc.com.
On Insta, and I think I haven't really done much with it, but I have a migraine, like, Facebook page trying to help pregnant moms with their migraines.
Oh, you just do it.
The most nightmarish patient to have is a woman of childbearing age, because you have the potential for two patients. So it was actually Candy Valentina who said, you need to lean into that.
Wow.
Because most of us run the other way. Myself included.
I thought that maybe people in pain would be your most nightmare.
Because they don't necessarily get better. But I don't fear the pain patients as much as I fear a woman of childbearing age, because the potential for a fetus is there, right? So
Yeah.
it's like there's a liability thing. But I'm very natural, so I have things that are over the counter and you can buy it from Amazon. It's just giving them the medical evidence and the will to try some of these other things. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank y'all for
Thanks for
coming
having us.
on
Thank
the
you
show.
for having
This
us.
is great.
You guys go get your stocking stuffers right here. And you know what? Thank you for tuning in to the show. And all of these links will be in the show notes. And yeah, come see Natalie speak at the Unstoppable Success Summit here in Dallas, April 25th and 26th. Can't wait to have you on stage. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.